This week on UND Insider Weekly, football pulls out a big homecoming win against Portland State. Hockey settles for a split after a harsh Friday night, and volleyball continues their great start to the season, but runs into a tough Idaho State squad. Head volleyball coach Mark Pryor will be here in the Coach's Corner to talk about his team's season as they continue through the middle of their conference schedule. Plus, the panel will preview all of this weekend's big events. All this week on UND Insider Weekly. Welcome to UND Insider Weekly alongside Brad Schlossman and Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald, Paul Ralston from UND Athletics. I'm Tim Hennessy. Lots of things to discuss, gentlemen. We had football at the Alaris Center. We had hockey at the Ralph and in Bemidji. We had volleyball out of town. What else did we have? We had women's hockey in Mankato. Anything else you can think of, Paul?
Boy, I tell you, we had soccer in town as well.
That's right, we had soccer in town. I knew there was something, and I knew you'd come up with it.
There were so many things to talk about. You want to start with football?
Yeah, let's go with football in a 24-16 win over Portland State's Vikings, and that was a bizarre game, wasn't it? Tom, you were there, obviously.
Yeah, I think 10.
Good win.
Portland State ran 10 plays in the final minute. I'm going to guess all of them were in the red zone. UND played pretty well in that second half, down 13-3 at halftime. Ryan Bartles has to come in for injured Joe Molberg. Engineers a couple offensive drives. I think the first one of the second half was like 14 plays down the field. So showed that he's very capable. But that team is pretty banged up. I mean, you look at Josh Seibel was their leading wide receiver, a redshirt walk-on from Bismarck. They just had a lot of guys step up offensively to do enough for that defense to get a win.
Josh Seibel wasn't even really sure what position he was going to be when he came to the University of North Dakota, initially listed as the defensive back.
Well, he's young enough. He played Legion baseball this summer.
Yeah, exactly. So just really incredible just how the injuries have mounted up. And you look at that game, I keep going back to that third quarter. I thought that was the perfect example of what UND football, what they wanted to see
Bubba Ball
evolve into, because time of possession was obscene, really. North Dakota had possession. They drove. They got scores. They got defensive stops. I think Coach Schweigert has mentioned that Portland State, I think, only ran 9 plays in that third quarter. That's the kind of game that they want to impose on opposing teams, whether or not they can do that consistently enough this year, but I think that's where they want to get to in the future.
You kept waiting for Portland State to make that one mistake. Portland State has had problems in the past with turnovers, specifically quarterback Kieran McDonough. And he finally had the one ball batted down that Dio caught, and that kind of helped turn the tide too.
What I go back to is the offense. This is not the team's strong suit by any means.
But are they getting better?
You take out the starting quarterbacks out, the top 2 running backs are out, the top 3 wide receivers are injured, and they're still able to drive and score points. I wouldn't have ever guessed that at halftime that they were going to finish with 24 points in that game.
Are they getting better?
Yeah, they got a little help from special teams, so they scored a non-offensive touchdown for the 4th straight week. That's helped.
I think they are getting better. I actually thought maybe we regressed a little bit with the running, a little bit against Portland State, and maybe that was more to do with what they were doing against North Dakota. But I thought the passing game, who they installed in there, they seemed to get plays from, whether it be Seibel or even a Casey Young sighting, who stepped in and made a nice play. All that's critical. And of course, right now their depth is being tested, and it seems like a lot of guys after the game were talking about, hey, this is a next guy up type of roster that we've got, and we're utilizing it. And I was very impressed just the way that they closed out that game. But pretty gutsy play call by Portland State to call a run on down by the goal line.
Almost
they're raising the eyebrows out of this panel.
Yeah, Dio Du talked about that. He wasn't expecting the run play, and all of a sudden he snapped his head just right at the time and was able to stop him.
They had the week, what does Bubba call it? Not a week off, but it's a bye week anyway.
It's an open week, yeah.
It's an open week for the football team, and he told us on Monday that there is no quarterback controversy. Joe Molberg is his quarterback, so I guess that eliminates that from anybody talking about it. But there will obviously be some talk, won't there?
No doubt about it. I think, and of course we have to see that Joe gets back from his injury. They'll have to do a number of tests. It sounded like they were going through the concussion test game day, so they have to go through the protocol to get there. But certainly the fan base, they're always active. Everybody has their own thoughts, and those questions will continue when you have Ryan Bartles come in and have a nice day like he did.
Let's talk about the hockey team. Got the regular season underway Friday night here at the Ralph Engelstad Arena against Bemidji, and then Saturday night at the Sanford Center. Brad, I'll take Saturday. You can take Friday. It was not good Friday.
No, it wasn't. That was one of those home games where I think all the fans want to forget right away. They didn't compete hard enough. They made way too many mistakes, allowing for odd man rushes. The D got caught how many times, and like we were talking Saturday, you said no one was covering for him either. Last year they got so good at covering for their D that were pinching, and that didn't happen at all. And Zane Gothberg saw way too many grade A chances for Bemidji State in that game, and they kind of had to go back to the drawing board and kind of remember how they won games last year, which was grind it out, get some goals in front of the net, and those type of things.
There might have been a little reading their clippings going in.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I think everybody's told them how good that they can be or should be, whatever. And then if you start out that way, really tough to turn it around.
But this
game,
team,
especially against a team like Bemidji, who just keeps coming.
Yeah, and this team isn't a team that's, it's not like that Fratton team where their skill is so much higher than everyone else. Do they have the opportunity to be as good as anyone in the country? I think they do. But they have to go back to the formula that worked, and that was grinding everything out, making it horrible for other teams to play against them, winning some close games. And I think they went in there thinking they were going to skate around Bemidji, and they didn't. They
ended up on their rear ends quite a few times Friday night, and that's why I think it was a good tone set by Steph Patton on Saturday night in the first shift of the game. By him, he started mixing it up a little bit and just kind of telling Bemidji State that that's not happening tonight.
He did. He came out there and right away got right in the grill, right in front of their net there.
And the big guy.
And their big guy too, yep. And he likes to get into that stuff too a little bit. So, and then I thought that the two guys that came into the lineup, Johnny Simonson and Trevor Olson, added an edge and the presence that they want to play with too. So a lot of the guys that came in the lineup did what they wanted to do.
And what about Colton St. Clair? He scored a goal, didn't he?
He scored a goal. He was playing on, they don't number the lines really, but if you're on third line, if you want to say that. I thought Chiswick, Simonson, and Olson may have been their most consistent line throughout that game.
Not only did they make hits, they made some plays, had scoring chances, and I think we'll probably see them in the lineup Friday night again.
Talk about that soccer. Scored a goal.
Tough weekend, but did score a goal on Sunday and actually took the lead in that Sunday match. And, you could tell where they're young. When they lose possession, they tend to lose it for a while because they're trying to get organized. And that, so I think you see a lot of youth in that UND soccer team, and they kind of get exposed at times for periods. Otherwise, they'll play a pretty good portion of the game, but then they'll have a little lapse for 10 or 12 minutes, and that's when they get kind of exposed. And so they're going through some growing pains right now and had a tough weekend.
Volleyball team traveled to Weber State and then Idaho State. Idaho State also was unbeaten. I guess there was some concern, we talked about last week, how if UND would overlook Weber State. Didn't do that, but ran into obviously a buzzsaw in Idaho State, huh?
They're a program that has typically just always had great players, and it shows that they won the conference tournament last year, knocking off North Dakota in the semis, and they have a lot of good pieces back. And going into to Bengalsville or whatever they like to call it there, I don't know.
New one to me.
I like that.
It
sounds dangerous.
We came up with Bubba Ball in Bengalsville so far.
Not an easy place to play, and so North Dakota's going to have to regroup because this is a big part of their schedule coming up. Let's see how they respond off the loss, because coming ahead, a big part of their schedule.
And Mark Pryor is going to join us and talk about it in a little bit here on the program. But coming up, a lot of teams are right in the middle of conference action, and we will preview some of the big matchups next.
I started hunting with my brothers and my dad. Hunting for me is getting away from everything, just getting out into the country, to the quiet. I enjoy hunting with my son more than anything. Someday he'll have memories like I have of hunting with my dad. There's just no better feeling when a customer says, that gun you sold me last year worked perfect. That is, to me, what it's all about. I'm Leon Streifel, and I'm one of the hunting experts at Shields.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
North Dakota basketball is almost here and big game plans are back. Secure your big game plan and lock in seats for the most anticipated games. Get 4 big games for defending Big Sky champions UND women's basketball, including the home game with Minnesota for only $30. North Dakota men's basketball big game plans include 4 key Big Sky Conference games, also for only $30. Purchase your big game plans online at UNDsports.com or in person at Ralph Engelstedt Arena.
Schloss knows my name.
Portland State on Thursday.
North Dakota women's hockey returns to Ralph Engelstedt Arena to take on WCHA rival Minnesota Duluth in the first home conference series of the year. Catch it October 17th and 18th. Puck drops on Friday night at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 4 p.m. Purchase your tickets today at the Ralph Engelstedt Arena box office or online at UNDsports.com.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back. Working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We're Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
Weekly episodes of Through These Doors are back, and you can catch an all-new episode this Thursday at 9 o'clock on UND Insider and Friday at 5:30 on Midco Sports Network. Well, guys, let's talk about what's going on this weekend, and I think tops on the list, for me anyway, is a trip to Colorado Springs and the beautiful World Arena and UND and Colorado College. Brought CC off to, well, they won their first 2 games under Mike Havlin, their new head coach. It'd be interesting to see what changes, if any, he's made with that program and how they attack things on the ice. So I guess we'll just find out. But they did just nip Alabama Huntsville twice.
They did. They scored a couple of late goals to beat Huntsville. You know, the one encouraging sign for them is I think some of their younger players last year were their better players, so they can hope that they develop a little bit. We have no idea. They have no idea what they're going to get in goal because Josh Thornbert played nearly every game for them last year. They got a couple of young guys in there. You know, who knows what we'll see there. I think defensively, that's strangely enough, that might be their strength. That was their weakness for so many years. They had these high-flying forwards, and their D core just killed them. But you know, now with Jacob Slavin and some of their other, you know, they lost Gustav Olofsson in the off season. Peter Stojkovic seems to score 1 goal a year, and it's always against UND. So. You know, they'll look out for him. But that, you know, it's a team I picked last in the league. I think they have way too many question marks right now. But like you said, it'll be interesting to see if there's any changes with that program.
Last time I talked to Mike Havlin, he was wading through all the NCAA rules and regulations. And it was just blowing him away because he comes from professional
He's a
hockey.
pro coach, yep.
And he was like, really? I get 2 hours a week or whatever it was of practice on.
Bigger sheet there too, right?
It is.
It is a monster sheet.
Yeah.
It's just huge. I mean, it's supposed to be 200 by 100, right?
It looks like the biggest rink in college
hockey. It really
hockey.
does. It looks bigger than Mariucci.
Yeah.
It's just, wow. It's big.
Lots of skating.
So you know who Nick Schmaltz should like that if he has some extra time and space to make plays. I think that'll be good for him. You know, that big ice sheet was so good for CC for so many years, and I think last year it wasn't real good for them, you know, being at home. So we'll see how that goes down there.
The women are at home. WCHA play against Minnesota Duluth, and coming off a pretty good weekend at Minnesota State Mankato and Duluth. Everybody, they're in the top 4, right? Isn't it Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, Minnesota Duluth, the ones you look to usually?
That's traditionally been the top 4. I think Ohio State could make a push to get in that group this year, but Duluth, well, you know, they had 7 players transfer out after last year. They have some new faces in the lineup. They did get a player back from the Canadian national team, so that should help them a little bit. Last weekend on Saturday night, they got a shootout win over Minnesota, so that has to give them a little bit of confidence coming here, but it should be an interesting matchup. It used to be Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Duluth, the big 3. Now the last couple of years, UND's knocked Duluth out of that big 3, so to speak, because they finished ahead of them all those years. So I'm sure Duluth wants to reestablish themselves in that position.
The two teams, from what I understand, really aren't very fond of each other.
No.
There's something going on.
Yeah.
It's
Wait
been
a minute,
that way.
nobody's very fond of Minnesota.
That's true.
Coach, anyway, right?
That's true.
I think that's where that stems from.
I don't think there has been any love lost for several years, even going back to the Chantal Rivard era. I remember talking to players that was the one weekend, you know, we always talk about Minnesota-North Dakota rivalry. You talk to the women's hockey players, they talk about the Minnesota-Duluth games. So it'll be an interesting one here in Ralph Engelstad Arena.
Volleyball gets to be home finally, Paul.
Finally home and a big one. It was with the team that they shared the Big Sky regular season conference crown last year in Portland State. I don't know if Portland State's out of the gate like they typically would like to be at this point in the season, but they're still a very formidable program, and you know, it's certainly a bounce-back game for North Dakota coming off a tough one at Idaho State. So getting Portland State in the Betty on Thursday going to be big for UND.
So after the break, UND Volleyball, of course, off to a very good start. Head coach Mark Pryor is going to be with us in the Coach's Corner. That's coming up.
North Dakota basketball is almost here and big game plans are back. Secure your big game plan and lock in seats for the most anticipated games. Get 4 big games for defending Big Sky champions UND women's basketball, including the home game with Minnesota for only $30. North Dakota men's basketball big game plans include 4 key Big Sky Conference games, also for only $30. Purchase your big game plans online at UNDsports.com or in person at Ralph Engelstad Arena. North Dakota women's hockey returns to Ralph Engelstad Arena to take on WCHA rival Minnesota Duluth in the first home conference series of the year. Catch it October 17th and 18th. Puck drops on Friday night at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 4 p.m. Purchase your tickets today at the Ralph Engelstad Arena box office or online at UNDsports.com.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
Cities Area Transit. We go where you go.
Did you know that riding the city bus is free for UND and Northland students?
I ride the bus so I don't have to find a parking spot, and then I'm always within an easy walking distance to all of my classes.
I'm going green, so I ride my bike everywhere. But when the weather turns bad, I take the bus. And why not? It's free.
Cities Area Transit. Enjoy the ride.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game, Shields.
It is a battle of last season's co-regular season champions as UND returns home to take on Portland State this Thursday. Action gets underway at 7 o'clock. Get your tickets at the Ralph Engelstad box office or online at undsports.com. Well, speaking of volleyball in Portland State, Coach Mark Pryor of the UND volleyball team is with us. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You should give that green to Paul because he's all faded out here.
A little bit, yeah.
You're on the road. Hit the road. You were concerned a little bit about the gals being ready for Weber State and overlooking them to Idaho State. You didn't do that.
No, we really didn't. They did a good job of coming out real quick. Our whole idea was we need to finish this as quickly as possible, and we did. It was like an hour and I think 8 to 9 minutes entire match, which was good. We wanted the Northern Colorado-Idaho State match to go as long as possible. It went 5. Okay, great. We get up there.
Things are looking good.
Yeah, we like, okay, things are kind of progressing. The team that really showed up at Reed Gym, I really don't know who that was. They had our jerseys on, and you can look at it, but I was like, who are you guys, and what have you done with my team? Yeah, Idaho State played really well. When you look at the box score, for us to commit 26 hitting errors and for us to only have 1 block in a match, that's just one of those things that we're hopeful it's just kind of an anomaly. I'd like to say that we did a lot of that to ourselves, and I think that we did. But I'm going to give Idaho State some credit. They've got a couple really big physical kids that cause us trouble at times. I don't think that was our best effort or our best execution at all.
Sounds like you should have played the men's hockey team that night and see if anybody'd win.
I think that night, was it Friday night for hockey and then Saturday night for us. We're not banner evenings for UND athletics, I can say that.
Are you able to just block that one out and go, whoa, that isn't how we play, and go from there?
We had a long trip back yesterday, and I think the more that I had a chance to process it and look at it and go, okay, we haven't had a really awful match. And that's not an excuse, but that's just kind of what happened. I mean, we haven't had a match all year. We've hit that low, had that few blocks. And when you've got 3 starters that are hitting negative, it's not going to happen for you.
Well, you're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as good as you thought you were.
Absolutely.
So that would come into play there, I think, for sure. You come back home at the Betty right here on Thursday night against Portland State. Paul talked a little bit about that. Talk to us about the Vikings a little.
They're a solid program. I think they're 3-3 right now in conference. We only get them once this year. We get them at home. It's going to be interesting. They just beat Idaho 16-14 in the 5th. We beat Idaho 18-20 in the 5th. I think it's going to be a good matchup for us. They can play the game. I think it'll be fun for us to get a chance to be back home again after 4 matches on the road.
And Northern Colorado on Saturday?
Northern Colorado is interesting because they are one of the more physical teams in the conference. They go beat Idaho State in 5 and then lose to Weber State in 4. A
lot of Jekyll and Hyde there.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's interesting. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be a tough week for us.
Nice to have you home, Mark. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Mark Pryor is the volleyball coach at UND. And coming up, there are a lot of good matchups this weekend. We'll go down the line and find out what the panel's looking forward to next.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields and Grand Forks Cities Area Transit.
Attention kids 8th grade and younger. You can now register to be a North Dakota Junior Champion for free. That's right, get a free membership to the official kids club of UND Athletics just by registering in person at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley. Membership includes a Junior Champions t-shirt, free admission to over 60 UND home games, exclusive Junior Champions events, and more. Sign up today for free at any U.S. Bank location in North Dakota or the Red River Valley and be a North Dakota Junior Champion.
North Dakota basketball is almost here and big game plans are back. Secure your big game plan and lock in seats for the most anticipated games. Get 4 big games for defending Big Sky champions UND women's basketball, including the home game with Minnesota for only $30. North Dakota men's basketball big game plans include 4 key Big Sky Conference games, also for only $30. Purchase your big game plans online at UNDsports.com or in person at Ralph Engelstedt Arena. North Dakota women's hockey returns to Ralph Engelstedt Arena to take on WCHA rival Minnesota Duluth in the first home conference series of the year. Catch it October 17th and 18th. Puck drops on Friday night at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 4 p.m. Purchase your tickets today at the Ralph Engelstedt Arena box office or online at UNDsports.com.
Welcome back to Insider Weekly. So, guys, the upcoming weekend, Tom Miller's got it off. I know that's the football team's not playing, but what were you looking forward to maybe seeing this weekend?
I'll go with UND hockey at Colorado College. You know, I didn't get a chance to see UND Saturday night play well, but I saw them Friday struggle. And I'll just be interested to see if they start piecing things together and kind of come together early in the year.
You looking forward to getting your voice back too?
I'm looking forward to getting my voice back.
He lost his voice cheering in the press box.
That's what it was. Trying to get a big 4th down stop on 4th and goal last week.
Brad?
Same thing, I guess. You mentioned it going to Colorado Springs. I'm looking forward to the weather's always beautiful when we go out there. I always eat about 16 spicy Cajun hot dogs when I'm out there. I'm going to see if
I can verify that.
I'm going to go goal for goal this weekend. Every goal scored in the game, I'm going to down a spicy Cajun dog that night.
Yeah, those at the concession stand?
No, I go downtown to Tejon Street. There's a street vendor there. It's the highlight. And there's some hockey that's going to be played too, so I guess we'll watch that.
A couple of games, I guess. Paul?
Well,
you don't have anything to do this weekend either.
I'm going to be looking forward to the training room at UND Athletics because our football team needs to get in there and try to get healthy here and utilize this open week to try to revive some bodies that have taken some beatings here in recent weeks. But they've been playing well. I'm also looking forward to women's hockey against Duluth. It's a series that has an intensity in it for the women's game. The two sides, as we've mentioned, don't like each other. I think it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend at the Ralph between those two hockey clubs. And hopefully North Dakota can keep playing at a high level, carrying over the play that they had last week in Mankato.
First big test for the women this year.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to the trip to Colorado Springs, and I'll be doing the jog up to Pikes Peak again and back.
Yeah.
It's only about 8-9 miles or something, but take care of that situation. Thanks a lot, guys. We want to invite you to catch a new episode of UND Insider Weekly in 2 weeks. The episode premieres Wednesday, October 29th at 8 p.m. on UNDsports.com.